Spotlight with Shonda Scott. We are here at McMullen Boutique celebrating 10 years in business, and we have a wonderful event here to celebrate her 10-year anniversary with some of the fashion influencers from around the world. We have influencers that have come from as far as Milan, Italy, as well as Team Vogue is here to also be a part of this celebration and the panel of influencers in fashions. So stay with us with Spotlight with Shonda Scott. 10 years,
10 years.
congratulations.
Thank you.
10 years and a lot of influence you have done with what you've done here in Oakland and in the world. So just tell us about the event and how it all came about. Like, why are you connecting fashion with business and the influencing of the millennials, and how you feel like this event is going to set that conversation further.
I think that, for the last 10 years, well, first let me take a step back. I think just so much of, who I am, what this business is about supporting women and really supporting the Oakland community. And, the people that are here tonight and the people who have been shopping with me for a long time, they're like family to us. So that really means a lot to me. And over the years, we've done fundraisers for local charities to focus on women and the arts and children. But this year, I felt like this was a time where women should come together and actually talk about real issues. I mean, there's so much going on, and not just fashion, but in the world. And this is a moment where we can actually embrace one another. We can talk about things that are important to us. So I wanted to bring community together, fashion, some of my dear friends who traveled from Milan and from New York and to be here. And then obviously like my family here, my clients, and it's just a really special time.
So how did you pick the designer for the event tonight? What was your muse for that?
Well, Amy is actually the designer Tibby I've been carrying for. It's one of the designers I carried 10 years ago that I actually carry today. And just watching Amy as a businesswoman, how she has developed her brand. I mean, I've been really inspired by what she's created. So it was just a natural thing for me to have Amy out, knowing that I carried her 10 years ago. She's also celebrating her 20-year anniversary. So it's a special
Incredible.
time. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So what do you have any expectations for the conversation after tonight? Is this just the beginning of a conversation that you're going to carry on throughout your 10-year celebration, or what are your expectations?
Well, I hope that we can continue to do this every year, but I think, if anything, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this is, I get asked all the time, how did you get into this industry? And what does it take to be an entrepreneur or be in the fashion industry? And I feel like a lot of women, young girls particularly, don't really know.
How did you get in?
Well, I got into the industry. I actually studied business, and I went from accounting into fashion. I did corporate buying, but I've always had a real love for the industry. So for me, I wanted to understand, like, how did product get into the stores, and I wanted to understand the behind the scenes piece of it. So I always had a curiosity for that, just studying business and being in that. And so I started my buying program with Neiman Marcus. So they essentially taught me how to be a buyer. So I did corporate years for about 8 years before I actually opened my store.
Great. So
Yeah.
you have a good, and that's what we're finding out. The common thread is a business background, having a strong business background in fashion and in a boutique. People don't always connect that you are a business owner, a small business owner, a woman-owned business.
It's true. And, I studied business, and that has been so great for me because, being able to read my financials, being able to understand how a business is run, I mean, that's been key to, I think, one of the successes of the business. And so, yeah.
Well, congratulations. We're
Thank
excited to be
you.
here.
Thank you for
And we
coming.
want to, we're excited to hear about the panel too, because you have some serious influencers from
We
around the
really
world.
do.
Teen Vogue, you have
Yeah,
that. I mean, and what
yeah.
they're doing here is
Yes,
incredible.
what they're doing is incredible. So when I asked Rajni, and she's like, absolutely, I want to be here. I asked my dear friend Tamu. I met a couple of years ago when she hosted a dinner for us for another designer in New York, and we've become like sisters. So it's a really natural thing. Just yeah.
You're watching Spotlight with Shonda Scott, and we will be right back.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all that.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Stay linked in with us as you follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember, hashtag Spotlight with Shonda. Tell us about the inspiration of your pieces and your fashion. Is there a story behind your
You know, a lot of
inspiration?
times I end up making up stories because it's the same
it sounds
thing.
good.
Because it sounds good, but it's really the same thing each time. You know, it's a team of women, and we all design together, and it's just each season it's a collaboration of what we want new in our lives, and the inspiration is really drawn from whatever we're feeling at the moment. And I think for the resort collection, it was just yeah, I was just craving something a little bit lighter, a little
Something to
bit more
take you away.
color. Yeah, and I just found myself listening to a lot of music from the 60s and watching, Doris Day movies and things that just were not so heavy. And, I think that then all of a sudden finds itself into like the color of the dress that Tamu was wearing and things that just, don't have such a burden around them.
Was there an era in time that you used for inspiration for this collection, or just a feeling?
Yeah, it's more just a feeling. I think I pick from a lot of eras, and I think maybe you go back to what you know most and when you found your true self in fashion. And for me, that was in the early '90s. So I think there's always those clean lines from the '90s that run through everything. But I don't like things to be too referential to a decade or anything.
So tell us about this collection and how it ties into the event today.
Well, we just wanted something that would be really uplifting for people, and I think that Cherry felt like, the collection, I think, just kind of captured the spirit of, I think, probably what she would say was the mood that she wants in the house tonight.
Now, Sherry told us that of the stories behind some of the designers and the ones she selects for the store
Uh-huh.
are like women and their stories and their countries that they're from. Is your team always women, and is that part of the story, your story, that you always have women designers as part of your process?
I always have women designers, and I wouldn't, I don't go out and say I can only have women designers. I'm really open to whoever is really talented and everything, but I do find that when you live in the product and you really wear the product, then you have a better ability to design it. That's my personal point of view on it. I think Sherry was also drawn by, we have a very diverse office, and we have a lot of diversity at very senior levels within the company. And I think when she came to the New York office and saw that, I think that was inspiring to her as well.
That's part of the story.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your gold nuggets that you want to share for the younger generation that may be interested in the world of fashion, that and how you got into fashion?
Well, everyone seems to take a different journey to it, and I was in business first, and then I decided to start the clothing line. But really, whenever you decide to do anything, whether it's a fashion company or anything on your own, it really is taking things one day at a time. And I always use the analogy of, well, I think people get so much pressure to write these big business plans, and all of a sudden they're supposed to, figure out the whole end game before they've even like got off first base. And I always use the analogy that like just think if you were going to LA to be an actor, your first step wouldn't be to write your Oscar speech. You would go and, you would do auditions, you would take acting classes. Like, you would be really forced to take it one step at a time. And I think even if you're starting a clothing line, it's that simple too. You get up the next day, you draw something, you see how it looks, and it's just really one day at a time and keeping very focused and confident about what you're putting forth and not listening to too many people.
Yeah, I always tie in fashion with business. I don't think many people see that fashion designers are actually business owners. Like you are a woman-owned small business, setting, a trend
Yeah.
for the world, but you actually are a business. Do you connect business with fashion in the same way?
Yeah, when I first started, that was the number one question I would get when interviewed. People were always like, "How did you start a design company without a design degree?" And my answer was, "How in the world would you start a design company with just a design degree?" Really, the business side of it is so important. And if if you want to start a fashion line, I would tell anyone to go get some business experience. Just go work at a small store. Watch what it means to have cash flow and have to pay for things, and hire an employee and check an electric bill, and all those are really critical things.
Right.
It's just as important as a drape of the skirt.
Very important because that's what adds to your longevity.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we've been around for 20 years now, and it has not been easy by any stretch, but I think being smart from a business perspective has definitely kept us afloat through hard times, for sure.
Yeah, well, great work, and I love your pieces.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Welcome to Spotlight with Shonda Scott, where each week we bring you the best and the brightest, the movers and the shakers, and the hidden gems from all over the Bay. Let us shine a spotlight on your business. Sponsorship opportunities are available. For more information, visit us at spotlightwithshonda.tv. Now you're with us from Teen Vogue, is that correct? Now what is your role at Teen Vogue?
I am the fashion director at Teen Vogue, so I kind of oversee all the fashion direction when it comes to the magazine, the digital side, and then also any like branded content that Teen Vogue does.
How exciting. How did you get into that role?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where you start in fashion as an intern. For me, I never thought I would be working in fashion. It was just never something that was like part of my trajectory. And I fell into it by accident. And through there, I worked at various magazines, from Vibe magazine to InStyle to Glamour to Nylon. And then about a year ago, Teen Vogue. And the thing is, for me, it was the right time because Teen Vogue was having such a voice and a resurgence in the context of what's going on in the world right now. So I knew I just wanted to be there.
Oh, well, I was going to attribute all that to you being there.
Yeah, it's not just me. There's a great team of people that are there, from Elaine to Philip Picardi to Marie Suter, who really make the team. And those people, we care about things that are happening in the world. It's not just about fashion. It is still a fashion book, but now we wanted more context. We wanted more something that you can grab onto. And I just feel like with whatever's happening in the world today, politics, what's happening in the country, what's happening internationally, it wouldn't be helpful to us and it wouldn't be helpful to our readers if we didn't pivot with the times.
Mm-hmm. And how did Teen Vogue make that transition? Because that's not a normal process. That's kind of innovative.
Yeah. I think the transition honestly happened when you're just not popping anymore. I think what happened is magazines are going through a transition in general, not just Teen Vogue, just magazine business. And I think with Teen Vogue, hiring people that cared about other things other than fashion, other than beauty, other than that, having people that are on the team that are like deep rooted in the culture, in their own culture, like me being a Black woman, deep rooted in who I am, and bringing that to the table, I think that's what started to pivot things. And then honestly, the politics of the world. You know, the woman, the girl, the guy, the person that reads Teen Vogue, they are the future. And I think it was having them be like, this is not your problem, these are our problems. And so we had to kind of mirror that in a way.
Well, good work. And what brings you to Oakland? What made you decide to come to this event and be the moderator for this influencer panel? What is your connection?
Miss McMullen, Shari. I mean, so I met her about a year ago, and the thing is, for me, seeing a woman entrepreneur, seeing a woman of color, a Black woman entrepreneur, I couldn't have said no. I think we all have to support each other, especially during these times, and I'm going to support. And so that is exactly why I'm here. When I see someone doing good, when I see someone kind of like putting all of themselves into their own venture, and it's like your own thing, it's not necessarily, you know, like a conglomerate, a company, it's hers. She built it. That to me is a sense of a strong woman, and I'm always going to be there to support that.
So after this event, what do you see as the next step for Teen Vogue and this kind of influencer and moving the conversation past tonight?
I mean, there's so many things, you know. I think after tonight, there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. You know, we all watch TV, we all watch the news. Every day something is changing. Every day something is said. Every day something is broken. Every day something is like, did you see that? So I feel like in the context of where we're living and how we're living right now, there is going to be many things to do. I don't know exactly what that is, but I definitely know that whatever it is, whatever the positive movement towards creating a better environment when it comes to young women being empowered, that's where I'll gravitate towards.
So real quick, can you give us any insight on the next issue or some spectacular covers that's going to happen today at Teen Vogue?
Yes, well, one thing is Hillary Clinton is on our cover, and that is going to drop the end of November. So Hillary Clinton, she not only is she on our cover, she guest edited the book. So we worked hand in hand with her to create a book that is an homage to her, but also it's kind of a Bible on someone who did it big. She might not have won the White House, but she definitely won the respect of women and garnered a whole new generation and empowered a whole new generation of women. So it's kind of like a guide on like what to do, what are the next steps to make sure that we are always heard.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Stay linked in with us as you follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember, #Spotlight with Shonda. Welcome to Spotlight with Shonda Scott, where each week we bring you the best and the brightest, the movers and the shakers, and the hidden gems from all over the Bay. Let us shine a spotlight on your business. Sponsorship opportunities are available. For more information, visit us at spotlightwithshonda.tv. We're here at McMullen Boutique in Oakland, California, with wonderful fashions from around the world. It's a beautiful boutique, and with me is the owner, Sherry, who's going to just tell us a little bit more about the boutique and what makes it special and unique to Oakland and to the world.
Thank you, Shonda.
Oh, yeah. I love your boutique. You have
Thank
such
you.
beautiful fashions. And to follow you on Instagram.
Thank
And to
you.
see you all around the world in Paris and in New York, bringing it all back here to the Bay Area. So just tell us what makes your boutique unique. here, and why do all your customers come and support you for all these years? I think it's been 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be 10 years this fall.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
congratulations.
it's flown by. Thank you. Well, I love what I do, and I love the clients that I've worked with. Most of the designers that I carry in the store are actually females. So for me, it's really important to support those emerging female designers. Many of the women, they have stories, unique stories, and they're producing in communities where they're actually supporting their families. So that's really important to me. There's so many stories about the designers. I could share, several stories. One designer, Ryan Rose, she's producing in Nepal because, she wants to make sure that the women are able to take care of their families, and she really stays true to that. Another designer, Makio, she's a Nigerian designer that we brought to the States exclusively last year. We had a wonderful launch party for her here, and all of my clients here in Oakland were able to meet her and support her and really embrace what she's doing. But it's really the same thing. It's, she's working with these artisans in her hometown, and she's carrying over those traditions from hand dyeing using indigo leaves and transferring that into beautiful garments. And I really appreciate those type of stories and the beauty in the garments. So I'm just really lucky to be able to share those stories and share those garments and those pieces with women really all over the world now with e-commerce thing.
So it's even more than a boutique. I mean, it's a whole international experience to come here.
Yeah, I would say that, because we carry designers from all over, I think that's what customers love, being able to say that they found this unique piece that they can't find in department stores, and they can't find really any place in the Bay Area, including San Francisco. So I think that's really what appeals to clients, and able to bring that to them. So we're open 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday, and the address is 1235 Grand Avenue in Oakland. So come visit us.
Spotlight with Shonda Scott. We are here at the celebration of 10-year anniversary, and we are here with, say your name again for me. Tamu. With Tamu on the influencers in fashion. So can you tell us a little bit about your fashion journey?
Okay, I started my journey in 2006. I was an attorney previous to starting to work in fashion, and I wanted to make the transition, with a non-conventional fashion background. So I was fortunate enough to meet an editor in Italy who introduced me to street style. He asked me to start a street style column it was called Glamour.it at the time. And I started without any photography experience, going outside and taking pictures of people. And I built up an archive of photos that at a certain point I was shooting more people than they were publishing the pictures. So I said, well, why don't I just open my own platform and publish the pictures there? And over the years, it's evolved from that into me introducing myself onto the site in response to my readers' requests. They just wanted to know more about me and my life and my point of view. And as bloggers kind of evolved into influencers, I took the same path. And in the meantime, I worked with a lot of great magazines. I edited a magazine in Italy for 2.5 years, and then I went back to working for myself.
Now tell us about the connection between your work that you're doing now and the event that we're having today.
Okay, so I basically have great relationships with both Sherry and Amy of TV. I've worked with them both in the past, and it felt very organic. I worked with Sherry in New York when she hosted a small dinner for one of her brands, and then I've worked with Amy and her team on panels like in New York at their new store. So I connect with both realities really well. Both women inspire me greatly. Their stories are amazing. They're business savvy, really impressive, and I look at what they've done to inform myself of where I need to be and where I'd like to go.
And fashion has taken a turn now, I think, where it's more connection with being an influencer and the social justice movement. And what do you feel fashion's responsibility is into speaking to the audience about what's happening in our world and how it relates to fashion?
I think we have a huge responsibility because we are fortunate enough to have these platforms that we can communicate to many people every day. I think for me personally, if you are in any way touched, disturbed by what's going on in the current political atmosphere, I think as an influencer who is allotted a great privilege, that you should speak out. A, to encourage your followers to inform themselves and to protect their rights. B, to also help, you know, keep morale up because I feel like globally people are feeling extremely demoralized by the turmoil that the United States is in. And I could never not speak out about it. And I feel personally a huge responsibility.
Do you see where fashion can be part of the healing process in that?
I think since we all can unite with our voices to encourage strength and then to also provide and offer positivity. So I think that we can have a direct role in the healing process because A, we can unify, and B, we could spread this positivity, and C, since we're the country or the leaders of the country are moving away from this idea where we take care of our fellow Americans, even though it's make America great again. I think by setting the example of caring for one another, standing with one another, no matter what your cause is, I think that's a way that we could definitely take part in the healing process.
And then for young women, like since you took an unconventional way to fashion, so many people romanticize about being in the industry. What would you recommend for a young person that's interested in becoming you for the next generation?
I would say the most important thing, as in many industries, is to work hard. And I would say definitely maintain a focus. I would say be really observant. I wouldn't worry too much about being perfect at all because perfection is definitely an overrated thing. I think being your best you is a personal thing. So you should be. I had a friend who said that she competes against herself, a very, very, very successful friend. And I said, well, do you ever feel the competition? She says, no, because I compete against myself and I push myself. And I, well, how do you gauge it? She said, no, I do my best, what I think is my best. So that would be my advice. And I also talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk, ask a lot of questions, but just work hard.